and gentlemen, to my debate of the week. And this is a special debate of the week because this was a debate of the week that was suggested by a subscriber called Eugene Morgan. If I'm pronouncing your name right, I hope so. If I'm not pronouncing it right, I'm very sorry. I'm bad with names. But he was the one that came up with this idea for me that he wanted to hear about my thoughts on Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and the moving of ADR and Rey Mysterio to AAA. And why I got into wrestling. But let's get into Roman Reigns and my thoughts on his feuds and his future. Now, with Roman Reigns, the last time we saw him was on Raw. Okay, I believe it was a 6-man match, and he was dealing with Randy Orton while in that match. I wasn't 100% fond of the match, but it was still done well enough that the two combatants were still interesting, which is Orton and Roman Reigns. Now my question is to you, and I'm saying this myself. What next after a Randall Keith Orton? Now I would like to know what you guys think, but these are my ideas. For Roman Reigns, he has several options. Now, are they great options? No, let's be honest here. For the only two options he has is the best options. The other ones I'll be mentioning are all that he can get because we don't have a very good mid-card at all. We have an undercard. That's where the IC Championship and the US Championship is. But this is what could happen. Roman Reigns could go up against Dolph Ziggler for the IC Championship, or The Miz, depending on who has it at the time. Right now, The Miz and Dolph Ziggler are having a feud, which I still wish had been promoted better, but in this case, it's still a good feud. These guys have great chemistry together. Let's say 2 or 3 months down the road, they finally pull the trigger on Roman Reigns getting the IC Championship. Maybe around the time when Bad News Barrett comes around. So that will give more interest to the IC Championship because if Roman Reigns goes up against Dolph or The Miz, has a feud with them, wins the championship, beats them a couple of times, the next person that would be good to come back to deal with a Roman Reigns will be Bad News Barrett. And from there, Roman Reigns can be promoted and really spotlight the IC Championship. A young, hungry lion that has a title that's finally being promoted through him can easily help him springboard into the main title scene. Now, if he's not going for that, he could go for the US Championship, which means he'll have to deal with Sheamus. Does that mean that's a great thing? Well, it counts on how much they're going to promote Sheamus in the next couple of months. He's been doing absolutely nothing. But still, Roman Reigns could still get something out of that because he never held that championship. He didn't. He only held the IC Championship, the Tag Team Championship with Seth Rollins. So him getting the US Championship could still give him the same type of effect. Because they're both undercard belts. We're talking about IC and US. No matter which one you have, it's pretty much the same thing. As long as they promote him, he's a young lion with a championship title, and he could be promoted enough to get into the main title scene, dealing with these two people I'm about to mention. Triple H, the king himself, could be the one that can help him be promoted, maybe by TLC, maybe by Royal Rumble, or maybe by WrestleMania 100% there. You never know. Triple H can really bring the best out of this guy. And I hope that if it comes down to it, he will be the one that's going to do this. Because I feel more safer with Triple H than I would with this other person that I would be mentioning, which is definitely going to be possible. That's John Cena. John Cena will be the one that's going to eventually deal with Roman Reigns. Here's the problem I see 100%. What they did with Ryback last year was horrible. They had no one for John Cena to deal with, so they turned a great face in a Ryback who was getting so over, and the Goldberg chants were disappearing. He got flipped into a heel and was fed to John Cena, and he has never recovered. He's in Rybactyl. He's doing nothing. It's a waste. Rybactyl may be a decent tag team, but Ryback had such a great potential to be a main eventer that they needed, and he was fed to John Cena. Let's be honest. Bray Wyatt was just fed to John Cena only a few months ago, and look where he is now. He's not doing well. No matter how much people want to still cheer for him, what is he doing? He's only had one win in maybe 3 to 4 months. No matter if it's on television or pay-per-view. So there's a terrible chance, which is a good one, that Roman Reigns will be fed to John Cena. The question is, will he be a face or a heel? He could be flipped heel, but he could get the Daniel Bryan treatment and be kept face, where John Cena may finally do some clean work and get him over. It's hard to say, but that is a possibility that could happen. Now, let's go to Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose, to me, out of all the three of the Shield, has the most polish. To me, he feels like Roddy Piper. I know everybody said something a little different about him, but to me, he feels directly like a Roddy Piper. And I kind of wish that Roddy Piper would come back to the WWE and manage him. If he had a manager and a Roddy Piper, I really believe he'd get over so well. Piper is still over. He can bring back Piper's Pit, which will be more bigger than Miz TV, which we know. Even the highlight reel wouldn't even come close. Having him as his protege would be great. But who could he face? Well, right now, he just got his skull crushed in on cinder blocks by Seth Rollins. Now, one thing we're obviously going to know is that he's going to face Seth Rollins again. It's going to happen. The question is, when? Will this be 3 or 4 months down the road? Because supposedly he's doing a movie now from WWE Studios. Why do they still do this? Let WWE Studios go. The Sleg Daddy is right. Either focus on doing movies or focus on wrestling. You're messing up your product when you take the guys who are in a prominent storyline that had still time on it and you throw them towards a fucking movie. Are you serious? Of course, this could still get over very big when he comes back. I mean, let's be honest. Dean Ambrose was really over. So, in a sense, it's actually a good thing for him being off television. But still, it has to be a movie. Anyway, there's many possibilities with Seth Rollins. One, he could face Seth Rollins for the Money in the Bank briefcase, which I think should be the best thing to be done for Seth Rollins. I don't believe Seth Rollins is going to cash it in. It may go to Dean Ambrose. Because they don't want to have someone go up against Brock Lesnar, who is a heel. Unless they're going to turn Brock Lesnar face. But we don't know that. He could face him to try and get rid of him. In other words, do an I Quit match, a ladder match, whatever. A steel cage match is what I wanted to see. So that also could be a possibility. Now the next person he could face, and this is Dean Ambrose, Sheamus. I know that he getting the title back would suck, but it is a possibility that they may do that again. This time, seeing that he's a face, it may get over. Another possibility is Dolph Ziggler and The Miz and the IC Championship. As I said before with Roman Reigns, they may have him go after that. And he could get the IC Championship and then face Bad News Barrett when he comes back. It'll give him something to do. And just like a Roman Reigns, that could help him build up into the main title scene. I don't think he's going to go up against Triple H. I don't think so. But it would be nice to see. He could be fed to John Cena if they turn him heel again. But it's going to depend on how well built he's going to be. Because if he's not built well enough, they won't throw John Cena at him because it'll be a waste of his time. But my guess is he may go after the US or IC Championship and then build up from there. And that's just my feeling about Dean Ambrose. I really hope he doesn't go up against Kane. Because that's also a very strong possibility. I didn't want to say it, but I got to say it because Kane sucks in the ring. Turn him into a fucking manager, ladies and gentlemen. Please turn him into a manager. Now, my feelings about ADR and Ray going to AAA. Well, after what happened to ADR, I don't blame him for going to AAA. He'll probably get a better deal since it's a Mexican promotion. Ray, on the other hand, is a question mark because he's nearing his end. He's had lots of knee surgeries, and he is nearing the end of his run. I mean, he could still wrestle for a while, but the question would be, would it be better for him to wrestle, or would it be better for him to be basically a manager? I don't know if he could become a manager, but it would be an option for him at AAA to wrestle for a while, then become a manager, and then bring someone up to the WWE that way. A lot of times, a lot of great wrestlers become great managers. Even if they weren't great managers in the beginning, if they had time to be polished, they could. Like ADR. I'm not saying ADR to go back to the WWE after how he was treated, and you saw my video on it. I'm not saying that's right what they did to him. So I wouldn't blame him ever going back to the WWE. Maybe he should go to TNA. But both of them going to AAA wouldn't be a bad thing. But like I said, with Ray, I really believe that if the best thing for him is to wrestle for a little while, maybe another 2 years, and then transition into a manager and start learning how to be able to talk, how to promote other people, and give back to the business. Finally, this is me. I was asked, what made you become a wrestling fan? Well, for me, when I was really young, and I think I said this on more than a few videos, the first person I ever could remember seeing was Bob Backlund. Everyone calls him Mr. Bob Backlund because he almost became President of the United States. But at the time, I knew him as Bob Backlund. I think I saw him in 1980. I was about 9 years old. No, 1979. I was 8. It was the first time I saw him. I also saw Bruno Sammartino. I saw the Iron Sheik. I had not seen Hulk Hogan yet. I think I remember seeing Pat Patterson, but it's hard to remember. Because in New York, you couldn't get any type of promotion on cable. Because cable at that time were showing different promotions like Worldwide Championship Wrestling. The NWA was shown a couple of times on like midnight, and I did see a little bit of that. The WWF, that turned into WWF. Those are the things I saw, and as a kid, I loved wrestling. My biological father, who really doesn't deserve to be called a father, he was an ass, he used to get it on TV. We actually saw the first WrestleMania in my apartment that I grew up in from the time I was 3 years old. Which was amazing to see, like Tito Santana, seeing Hulk Hogan, like I think I've already seen Hulk Hogan by then, but seeing Hulk Hogan, Mr. T, who I was watching the A-Team, that was epically cool. I said, Dad, I think I called him Pop at that time. I didn't understand fully how bad our father was yet. Pop, is that Mr. T? He said, yes it is. I said, cool, Mr. T! I loved Mr. T back then. And the thing was that it was special. And I watched it until about 1990, and that was around the time when I was about to graduate from high school. Well, 1 year before graduating. And it was a lot of trouble for me because I had a bad childhood. I was confused most of the time because I didn't know how to feel because I was suffering from child abuse. And I stopped watching wrestling around 1990 or 1991. But I still sometimes watched it. During the time I went to trade schools, I went to like 2 trade schools, I went to a technical college, and in between that I was watching wrestling. Maybe once a month I saw it, or twice a month. I got married. I watched wrestling on and off there, even though my ex-wife, my wife at the time, hated the shit. Once in a while when she wasn't there, I flipped it on. But by 2002, I wasn't with my ex-wife anymore. We were separated. I was going to divorce her. My son wasn't with me anymore. I was very sad, lonely, I think I was depressed then. And I started watching wrestling again. And I kept doing it on and off ever since. I mean, it helped me to pass the time. It made me happy. Not until 2010 did I really begin to watch the product a lot. Because by then I had the internet and I could see pre-recorded ones on some websites because I didn't have cable anymore. And I can say this. Anyone wants to understand this. When I became injured, I got injured in 2010. And I couldn't work anymore. One of the things that really helped me was wrestling. I mean, doing these shows, I got a lot of inspiration from several people. I mean, the Sleg Daddy from the Off the Rope Show, the British Fist with NJ and Mr. Parkin, and a couple other people who, they're not wrestling related, but they really helped me to see that if I have a passion for something, why not express it? So I started expressing myself through videos talking about wrestling. And if you see my channel, sporadically I put other stuff in there, mostly like politics or current news. And I should be doing science fiction or something, but I'm not always into expressing it. I'd rather watch it. But wrestling has given me a lot in the last couple of years. It's really helped me to express myself. And I still love it. And I really hope that it stays around for a long time and gets better. Because it's not doing that well. But right now, I'm not going to quit watching it because it's not good. Because it could still get better. And I still love it. So I hope you like this debate of the week. Please give me a comment below for Eugene Morgan, if I'm pronouncing the name right. Thank you so much for the suggestion. Because it's kind of hard to come up with a suggestion. Even though you know it would be good to do these people, you don't know if anybody wants to hear it. So I'm really glad that you did state this. And thank you. You guys have a good day. Peace out.